The time is just gone 8:32 a.m. We continue with the show this morning. Now, the Reverend Frank Chikane is now at the center of an Israeli storm. And this comes against a webinar that took place on the 6th of February 2021. And according to an online newspaper, which is called the Allgemeine, they say that the icon of the anti-apartheid struggle, the Reverend Frank Chikane, declared war on Israel and its supporters. And this morning we joined on the line by Emeritus Pastor of the Apostolic Faith Mission, Reverend Frank Chikane himself. Reverend Chikane, good morning to you, sir, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to your show.
Yes, wonderful having you with us on the show this morning. Obviously, it is an honor having you with us this morning on Salaamedia, on News and Views. Now, this article, and I've seen your response where you talk about your views on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. And when one looks at the article that appeared by Dexter van Zille in the Allgemeine on February the 10th, 2021, you are saying, obviously, that he has distorted your views and your perspectives on the Israel-Palestinian conflict.
Yeah, well, in the first place, that writer has never talked to me. And since the 6th of February, has never taken the trouble to even find out about what my views are and what I think about these matters. Secondly, they decide to distort what I said there. I am actually amazed that a 3-minute input after the review of a film, The People's Patriarch, which is the patriarch of the Latin Church in Jerusalem, who's retired now. And it was in honor of his stand against injustices which are perpetrated against people, the Palestinians. And so I made 3 minutes input, and all that made hell to break loose. And I appear in all sorts of media, of lobby groups, and I think they are making a big mistake. In the first place, they want to try to present the case of the Palestinian as non-existent. In fact, I read an attack yesterday from one of the people, I'm getting lots of attacks now, who argues that the Palestinian nation and the people have never existed, don't exist, will never exist. Now, when you deal with people like that, it means that they disregard the humanity of the Palestinians and their right to exist, and therefore can justify any form of brutality against them. And I'm saying, and this is where I stand, no amount of theology, no amount of justification of biblical texts will make me believe that our God will support the disregard of the existence of people on earth who are made in God's image. And therefore, I will not move. The issue is Israel has been occupying Palestine for more than 50 years. Nobody has done this in this world. In this modern age, and their rights have been violated. They've been compartmentalized. I learned when I talked to the Palestinians that they even get grouped into 5 different groups of rights of movement from one point to another. And then there is also the violation of the international rules of occupation of people, that you can't build settlements. They are busy doing that. It's in violation of international law. And that's why my position will not change because I'm being attacked, because the truth does not change because people attack you. The truth remains. Remove your knee on the neck of Palestinians, and then we can talk about other people, because they are saying I'm not balanced. I'm not talking about Syria and other places. I'm saying, no, sir. remove your knee on the neck of the Palestinians. Then I will talk about other people. I'm talking about other people, but I'm not going to allow somebody who's perpetrating gross violations of human rights against other people to tell me who to talk about.
Yes. Now, obviously, Reverend Chikane, the comment that didn't go down well was, what they are alleging and accusing you of is using theological terms when you made mention that the blood of the people of Palestine will be sought from them. And the whole question surrounding, and I know you feel strongly about this, is we know in the past the persecution of Jews had taken place right across entire Europe. And what you are saying is these sins of the past, which were committed against the Jews, must not be used as a valid reason for more sins to be committed against the people of Palestine.
Yeah, I think that's what really made them mad. But you see, I used an Old Testament text, Ezekiel, which they use. Ezekiel 3, verses 18 and 19. What it says is, if a prophet sees somebody committing sin and does not warn that person that they will die in their sins and their souls will be sought from them, the prophet is responsible for the lives of those people. And if the prophet tells them, then he doesn't take responsibility. That's all I was talking about. And I'm saying Europe committed atrocious acts against the Jews. We all know that. And it's terrible history that should never be allowed to happen again on earth. But that does not mean that their guilt about what they have done should actually make them turn a blind eye on the brutalization of the Palestinians by the Israeli government. It can't follow. Two wrongs don't make right. That's what I was saying. I'm saying the European countries, and in particular the churches, Christian churches, who feel guilty about what has happened, you can fix what you did, which is wrong, but don't allow the person you sinned against to commit sins and you keep quiet. Then the blood of the people who are dying will be sought from you. It's a question of responsibility. And I'm saying we have a responsibility not to keep quiet. I can't believe that this world keeps quiet and people are occupied for more than 50 years illegally. I don't believe that this should be allowed.
Yes. Now, also, Reverend Chikane, I see this debate has gone another route as well, where there is now all this talk about who does your views represent. Does it represent the Christian community, the majority of the Christians? And this whole question about a Christian divide is now featuring very, very prominently in response to your remarks.
Well, in the first place, because they believe in prophets in the Old Testament, when you speak as a prophet, you don't need support from many people. Injustice is injustice and wrong is wrong, and it must stop. In any way, there are many people who understand what I'm talking about, but they've used enormous resources to penetrate into the churches, to sell Christian Zionism, to sell theological perspectives that make innocent Christians begin to support the brutalization of other people. I am saying it doesn't matter what the scriptures would say. If any piece of scripture would justify the killings of people and violation of their rights, I will not be on that side. I'm on the side of God, who's a God of justice. And the measurement is whether you are treating people equally or not, and that those people have rights. So that's my position. It doesn't matter how many people support it. By the way, the fact that you've got the majority supporting an illegal, immoral activity doesn't make it right.
Obviously, coming from the background, and we know of South Africa, and we know of the apartheid system in South Africa, and the key issue here is, and I think you make the point that this is not about a Jewish state, because you have mentioned that you support the Oslo Accords. This is more about justice, and I think this is the most critical issue here, Reverend Chikane.
Yeah. No, it is very critical. You see, I use the Oslo agreements, accords, to explain that they make me look like I'm anti-Jew. I'm not anti-Jews. I'm actually on the side of the Jews if they are on the side of justice. Anybody who's not on the side of justice can get my support. And so I said the Oslo Accords were a compromise. By the way, I mean, it wasn't, most of us found them difficult, but we said if it can produce solution to the people of the Palestinian Israel, then let's accept it. But then you must have two independent states with full rights, not one state subject to another state. That doesn't make sense. You need to then accept that the refugees must come back. You need to make sure that people are returned to their homes. I mean, it's all sorts of things that go with the Oslo Accord. But if you don't make it happen, that's the point I'm making, then of course you must go back to a one state solution where Palestinians and Jewish people live together in one place where they've got all the rights and there's no limitation. You can't have a state that, I mean, violate the rights of other people who are citizens in that state. And people have now done their homework. I've read the stuff. The laws in Israel, Palestine, generated by the Israeli government are like apartheid laws. They dictate who you become. Even if you are a citizen of Israel, there are laws that govern you as an Arab Israeli or a Palestinian Israeli. And we cannot allow an apartheid system to develop in the face of the world when, in fact, apartheid was rejected as a crime against humanity.
Yes, and just finally, Reverend Chikane, I just want to focus a bit on, and you alluded to Christian Zionism, and sometimes when religion is actually used to justify a certain ideology, a certain thinking, and you obviously feel very, very strongly about Christian Zionism and what they really represent, or do they truly represent what Christianity encourages or propagates?
You see, the problem about this is that people mix traditional Jewish theological thinking and Christian thinking about the Jewish state. The first thing is that indeed we use the same scriptures. It talks about Israel, it talks about Old Testament, and therefore we share the scriptures. But nobody must use those scriptures to brutalize other people. I'm saying there's no God, the God I believe in. And I don't want to use Christian theology because it doesn't help in those quarters. The fact is that if I want to use Christian theology, I must say that Jesus died for the whole world, did not die just for the Jews or the South Africans or the Americans, died for everybody. And so salvation is for everybody, and no one must be treated differently from others. Once you cross that line, there is no Jew or Gentile. The wall of separation has come down, and that's what Christian theology will talk about. Christian Zionism is really justification about land and treating Palestinians as if it's the Philistines of old. The point is that you can't use history of old to come and brutalize human beings, of modern human beings now. And you can't go to that history. I've not been able to claim the Chikane's piece of land in Mpumalanga. because there are other people who live there over the years and they are black. I can't go there and say remove them. You know what I'm talking about? Let's find another solution. You can't treat human beings like they are not human beings. And I think that's where, when you go back to that history and Christian Zionism, it will justify one tribe against another, which means you turn God into a tribal God. And I say, no, my God is not a tribal God. My God is a God of the Jews as it is a God of the Palestinians.
Well, Reverend Chikane, I must say thank you very much for that and for your time with us this morning. We do appreciate you taking time out, talking to us here on Salaamedia. We wish you all the best and please be safe. Take care of yourself.
Thank you very much, and your listeners.
Reverend Frank Chikane, the anti-apartheid struggle icon at the center of an anti-Israeli storm, with us this morning.